Welcome into Paul Catalina's Top 5. I hope you enjoyed Week 2 more than the teams in this list did. It was rough for some of them. One of them did win, but the others didn't. Of course, thanks to our sponsor, TexasBeefHouse.com. Jack McKenzie was preparing his first wave of Wagyu beef this weekend. He told me about it in great detail. Caramelized onions, getting ready, the burgers ready to go. He was fired up about doing some smash burgers at his house. That great beef. Bid on Beef, I believe there's an auction this week. So go check it out. There's one this week, maybe next week. I don't know. Smokey's the Bid on Beef expert. But just go to bidonbeef.com and find out when the auctions are and get prepared to make your bids for whatever you want. Steaks, hamburgers, tons of different things that they have there at texasbeefhouse.com. And use our promo code 365sports. Teams that need help post Week 2. Number 5. Notre Dame. Their offense is not what it should be right now. Not even close. Mike Denbrock's not calling it to the strength, which I'm surprised because Mike Denbrock's one of the best offensive coordinators in football. Here's what he, I think, is trying to do. He's trying to run the offense that they ran with Jaden Daniels at LSU last year with Riley Leonard. Much like Mike Norvell was trying to run the Jordan Travis offense with DJU. Well, those are not the same people. I'm going to lean in a little closer and say it again. Those are not the same people. You have to adjust to your talent. If Mike Denbrock adjusts to the talent that he has on the team, runs the game through his tailback love, and lets Riley Leonard run a little bit more, run some more quarterback powers, quarterback options, play action off of that, Notre Dame should be fine. But Northern Illinois rolled in there and physically matched them step for step the whole way, and that should be very concerning to Irish fans on the way out. Number 4. Auburn. Hugh Freeze is supposed to be a QB guru, right? Well, this is 2 years now with Peyton Thorne, and the guru hasn't gotten the message that maybe Peyton Thorne is not an FBS-level quarterback, an SEC-level quarterback. He's probably not even totally a G5-level quarterback. I know that that's harsh to hear about a college kid, but Auburn fans right now all over the plains are agreeing with me. They need dynamic playmakers at quarterback. They have wide receivers that they have dynamic playmakers. They've got a pretty decent offensive line. But they've lost to Cal, a fan base who cares far less, and I'm not knocking you, Cal, but far less than Auburn fans do, because Auburn fans care about their team, and those boosters care about it to an unhealthy level. See the litany of fired coaches who couldn't live up to Big Brother Alabama. Auburn needs help in a big way right now, and Hugh Freeze was supposed to show some progress in year 2. That did not happen against Cal on Saturday. By the way, Jade Knott, total badass. Total badass at Cal. Number 3, Michigan. This is a cataclysmic fall-off from a national championship team a year ago. Look, Texas is a fantastic team. They're probably going to be in the playoff unless the wheels straight come off, but Texas had everything that Michigan had last year. They've got star leadership from the quarterback. They've got skill players. They've got badasses on defense, even though their defense quite not as good as it was last year, because you can't just repeat that, but they've replaced it ably so far early in the season and have not given up many points. A shutout to Colorado State and what probably felt like a shutout in Ann Arbor because it did not look good. And when you have to name the starting quarterback the day of the first game, which they did with Davis Warren, and Alex Orji hasn't worked out, you've got a problem. And maybe some of that outside noise has gotten into Michigan a little bit, and they're not feeling quite as confident as they were, and they weren't able to just bowl through it like they were last year. This team is awful on offense. Not to mention, their offensive line has taken a little bit of a step back, which I'm surprised about. And Donovan Edwards, who's one of the cover athletes of EA Sports College Football 25, has not been good. That's a shocker to me, and a shocker to a lot of people, particularly Sharon Moore and Donovan Edwards. Michigan in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. That team didn't just look like a team that got beat by a way better team in Texas. That team just didn't look like a team that can compete, maybe as well as they think so, in their own conference. But it's a long season. It was the second game, but 2 weeks in a row of ugly Michigan offense. This is not sustainable at the Big House. Number 2, Oklahoma. I don't know what's going on with the offense. I don't know what's going on with that offense. Jackson Arnold needs to be better than he was against Houston. Houston's a team you shouldn't have that many problems. Yeah, Nick Anderson was out, but that shouldn't affect you too much. Get the ball to Deion Burks more. I mean, Anderson and Burks, one of the better receiving duos, I think, in the SEC right now. Those guys are both really, really good. And if one of them is out, that means, okay, let's find Deion Burks more. Let's run the ball a little bit better. They didn't do anything well. Defensively, they held Houston in check. Houston only scored, 12 points or whatever. But offensively, they look a mess, and their schedule's not getting easier. It gets worse from here. So if you want to avoid this, you got to fix that offense in a hurry, Seth Littrell. You got to. I have faith that he can do it. I think he's one of the better offensive minds, but clearly they got stuck in the mud the other day. Hopefully for Sooner fans, this is a 1-week blip. And who could number one be? Who could it be? Who had the most embarrassing indictment on their style of play and coaching plastered all over national television this week in prime time? It was tough to figure out which team in prime time had their whole style on display for everyone like me to criticize. Colorado. I don't. If I'm going to answer this question here, I don't right now. I don't believe now. I still believe in Deion Sanders' potential as a head coach, but he's got to philosophically change what he's doing about building that roster. If he wants to protect his own flesh and blood in Shedeur Sanders, that ship may have already sailed for this year. Now, granted, the best recruit they have is their left tackle, who came out of Florida and is there. But the transfer offensive lineman they have, not getting it done. Not getting it done. They're really bad in the offensive line. Now, part of that, I think, is talent. Part of it, I think, is scheme. I think they've got a scheme issue that is not helping Colorado be better than they could be. Sometimes you have to protect against things, and because they have Shedeur Sanders and Jimmy Horn and Travis Hunter and LaJonte Wester and Campbell, they have some really amazing wide receivers, and they have a great quarterback. I don't know if Dallin Hayden's any good at running back. I have no idea. Why do I have no idea? Because he can't go anywhere. I think he'd probably be pretty good if he had places to run. He doesn't. And Shedeur Sanders is not going to make it through this season like he didn't make it through last season as they get in the Big 12, and the hits just keep on coming. Nebraska punished them physically and made them like it in the first half. Pretty much throughout that game, but the first 2 quarters of that game were an absolute indictment on how Deion Sanders built that roster and how they thought they could get by with mediocre offensive linemen, or they just completely whiffed on talent evaluation. But if Shedeur is going to be upright and be healthy and not have to miss workouts going into the draft this year, you've got to figure out better ways to protect him and not put the game solely on his shoulders. I don't believe yet, Deion. I don't believe yet. But I believe in you. I just don't believe in what you're doing right now. You need to change. The sign of great coaches are the ones who adapt. Nick Saban, the greatest coach of all time in college football, is the greatest coach of all time because he was the most adaptable coach of all time. Deion has to adapt. Adapt, adapt, adapt. Thank you for watching. We're wrapping it up right now.